Pets Add Life, your guide to the latest in pet trends, products, and the joy of the human-animal bond, with Kristen Levine and Chris Bonifati, powered by the American Pet Products Association and Dog TV.
Well, hey there, Kristen.
Hey, Chris.
Back and better than ever, again for another podcast episode. This is the PAL Podcast. Thank you, everybody, for listening and being here with us. We have an awesome show for you. But first, Kristen, how are you feeling today?
I feel great. I'm pumped because I think it's officially fall now. You know, we just had Labor Day. I think summertime is over, and fall is my favorite season.
I love fall as well, but I cling onto summer like a school child. Like, I refuse to let it go. But then as soon as I have like that first taste of an apple cider donut, all of that melts away, and I find myself at peace.
Yeah, well, you see, when you are a former Floridian, you do not cling to summer. You are happy to say so long to the heat and humidity. So, yeah.
That's pretty rare. There's not many former Floridians.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like
because most people
Florida's one of those states
Florida.
that once it gets you, it gets you.
I know a lot of people think we're crazy for moving up to the mountains in North Carolina, but we've got seasons. It's beautiful. We've got mild winters, mild summers. It's very dog friendly. It's just awesome. We love it so much.
Well, we've got sort of a fall themed show coming in here. We're going to be talking about Pawtoberfest. We're going to be speaking to the great mind behind the Acro-Cats. So can't wait to get into that. So while we have you here, get comfortable. Lock it in. We've got a great show for you all. And so without further ado, let's get into this episode of the PAL Podcast.
Kristen and Chris present Storytime.
All right, Chris, it is story time. So let's hear what you got today.
Yeah, so we wrapped the Olympics a few weeks ago, but I'm reading through some of the news that sort of finds its way back here in America after coming across the Atlantic, and I saw this wonderful story about Beacon, Team USA's emotional support therapy dog that made the trip over there, which I thought was absolutely amazing. I think a lot of people are aware of the story surrounding Simone Biles, who obviously took home a massive amount of hardware this year and in the past, but had actually taken a couple of years off from the sport to sort of get her mental health in order. I just think it's awesome that there's so much awareness around the concept of mental health, especially from these Olympic athletes who at times are the closest thing we get to superheroes. They're infallible. They're perfect. They land their routine every time. But there's a lot of stress that comes with that kind of pressure. So Beacon is a rescue dog that comes from Pasadena, has a story just like everybody else. And I was reading through this, and it's so amazing, like the parallels between this dog and the Olympic athletes. Just very low expectations when they got the animal, but then immediately recognized its skills. And it sort of went through all of the training and passed with flying colors and eventually found itself in the Olympics over in Paris. And it's just a mirrored story to so many other Olympic athletes. They don't necessarily come from wealthy or well-off families. I mean, of course, some of them do, but a lot of people just are born into regular families, find that they have these incredible skills, dedicate their entire lives to them, and are rewarded on the biggest stage in the world. So if I could, I would give Beacon a gold medal. I'm sure I'm not the only one to say that. But I just think it was an amazing story to come out of this year's Olympics.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I don't know how Beacon did it because he must have been really busy. I mean, I forget how many athletes from the U.S. were there, but I mean, he had to be really busy going from event to event.
Absolutely, and he was quite popular. I'm flipping through some of the photos now, and I mean, he is just a ham. You can tell that he loves this, and he loved all the attention. So, he spent a lot of time with the gymnastics and swimming teams. Some of our more popular and hot, teams with very high expectations. But I think it's awesome that
I
there's
love it.
even just, I mean, it's great the dog gets to do this, but the awareness of the, United States Olympic organization to say, hey, would be a great benefit for us to have for some of our athletes is an incredible step forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Really smart. And you know what? My story is something that Beacon might be interested in now that he's finished his Olympic duties. He might be wanting a little bit of alone time. So I found this cool app. I don't know how new it is, but it's new to me. It's called Sniff Spot. Have you heard of this?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Dog owners can rent a safe and private dog park that is hosted by locals. So just a bit about dog parks first. You either love them or you hate them. And if you talk to a lot of pet professionals like trainers and veterinarians, they hate dog parks because that's where dogs can get into fights. They can catch, diseases. Unfortunately, in some cases, people don't pick up after the dog. So depending on the dog park and your dog, you may love or hate dog parks. But my sister has a reactive dog, so she cannot take him to any dog park. However, he has tons of energy and he needs a lot of exercise. So she just takes him on long hikes where at times of the day where she doesn't expect to encounter any people or pets. So when I discovered Sniff Spot, I sent this to her because it's basically an app where, kind of like Airbnb, you can literally locate and rent a private dog park for your dog to take them there to get the exercise they need without the interaction of other animals. And they even have some of them are people's yards, but other ones are they have water features, or they might have a large acreage where they can do a hike. So I think this is a really great alternative for those dogs who aren't well socialized or are reactive or just don't like other dogs. To go and get their exercise. So I sent this to her, and I'm excited to find out if she found any great locations near her, because they do offer locations in Denver, which is where she lives. But it looks like they're in about eight cities right now, maybe more. So yeah, so check out Sniff Spot if you have one of those dogs that prefers to be on their own at a park or needs to be on their own at a park. And I think it would also be great for if you're vacationing with your dog. You could find a local play spot for them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Or if on the flip side, if you've got some land that you don't really use, or big old backyard, or I've got a buddy out there. If you're listening, maybe this is good for you. They have a house right on the Appalachian Trail. Unique opportunity to do hiking. If you're one of those and you aren't in a position to get a dog, but you love having animals around, maybe becoming a Sniff Spot host is the right move for you.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Beyond the Leash, exploring the untold stories of pet passion and professionalism.
Joining us now is Samantha Martin, the visionary founder and animal trainer behind the Amazing Acro-Cats. Emphasis on the amazing. I've seen the videos. A unique circus troupe that showcases the incredible talents of domestic cats and a few other small animals. Coming out of Griffin, Georgia, Samantha and her troupe tour the United States, performing delightful shows that feature acts like the musical band The Rock Cats. Samantha's innovative use of clicker training has not only entertained audiences nationwide, but also promoted cat welfare and the benefits of training. So thank you so much, Samantha, for joining us on the podcast today.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So let's get right into it and talk about the Amazing Acro-Cats. And maybe you could tell us a bit about the show and the inspiration behind it.
The show actually was inspired by a cat named Tuna that came into my life in the early 2000s. And she was just a brilliant cat. Unlike any cat I'd ever met before. She wasn't very affectionate, but she was so focused on learning. And she picked up on clicker training right away and was just so comfortable in new places. And so I started taking her around to any place that I could bring a cat. And I had a stroller with a bunch of props underneath. And so I would go to pet expos and plop her on a table and have her ring her bell and jump through a hoop and do some assorted tricks. And sometimes we'd stop at a rescue booth and put a donation jar and have Tuna ring a bell and tap a donation jar for the rescue. And and people just loved, just they were just amazed to see this, that a cat could do anything. So, and initially I put a band together, the Rock Cats, and I was touring with another group, and so I brought the Rock Cats along just to kind of see. I wonder if people would be into this, and they were enthralled. So when I got back, that's when I put together a whole show, which was very a lot more complicated than I thought, because every cat's different as far as personality and being outgoing. But don't shut off the video. These are some of our foster kittens. So, but yeah. So initially, I just I'd find art galleries and places that I could just bring the cats and work with them in front of a crowd. And people just started showing up in droves to see these cats do things or not do things. A lot of times it was not do things. So, but eventually, I kind of figured out what the cats needed to be comfortable, and I started adding music to the show, added a few more cats to the show, decided to add another rescue kitty, and then that's when I got really involved in rescue, because I went to a I got involved with a rescue who sent me to pick up my first litter, and they sent me to an intake facility, and they said that the facility was like, well, if you don't take today in the kitten room, we're going to be euthanized. And I was like, what? So I took all 12.
Oh, wow.
And that was really kind of like a life-changing moment, because I had no idea. I mean, I always know that there's a pet overpopulation problem, and but I had no idea how many people were just dumping their cats, and it's just because they don't have a bond with them. And I realized that I could help people bond with their cats and teach them how to make their cat more of a family member through clicker training and communication. And just 10 minutes a day can just make a huge difference in how the relationship that you have with your cat. So that's so then since then we've found homes for 358 cats and kittens through our show. And so we're traveling with 4 foster kittens. One has a couple application and is going to to the forever home. We had to retire some of our seniors, so we are actually auditioning to add a couple potential actors. So this is kind of like their audition time.
How do you, I would love to know, how do you audition the cats to take the places of the show cats that are retiring? I start putting them on stage early on with simple things. I see what they like to do, what they're drawn to do. Some of the cats prefer to be more elevated and do things up, high on the bars, and other cats are more comfortable doing things on the floor. And then also how they respond to crowd noise, and if they're shy, it's their energy level. So there's a lot of factors that involved in adding a new kitty to the show. So right now our youngest is about 2. That's official, and then we have 3 kittens we have 4 foster kittens. 3 of them that I'm kind of teaching some things and working them into the show and saying, it's going to be one of the next Acro-Cats.
That's awesome. Samantha, you've brought up clicker training a couple of times here. So can you explain a bit about what clicker training is, why it works for cats, and for those of us out here like myself who have a cat and may be interested in teaching them a couple of things, some advice on how to be an effective clicker trainer?
Well, the clicker is a communication tool. So the sound of the click tells the cat they've just done something that's going to give them a reward. So it's all positive reinforcement. You just ignore anything that you don't want, and then you click and reinforce anything that you do want. So if you're trying to teach a cat to high five, you start with maybe a target stick, and you put a target stick near them, and they're gonna be interested in this new object, and they'll look at it, or they might even paw at it. At that point, you click and give them a treat, and then they figure out pretty quickly that something with this target stick and this sound equals a great reward. So you can have them following this target stick around initially, and then they might be able to get a high five, a sit pretty, a spin. So some of those basic things just take minutes to teach. So sometimes I'll take foster kittens because we'll partner with rescues across the country, and sometimes I'll take one of their kittens that's trying to find a home, and I'll bring them up on stage, and within 5 minutes have them trained to do some basic things, and that helps them get a home. And also they have a cute little parlor trick, so and they're already trained, clicker trained at this point. So nobody's going to leave behind a cat that high fives them when they get home from work or plays the piano for them. So, by having them do some kind of cute little trick, and also we whistle train them all. So we blow a whistle, they're all trained to run into a carrier. Which is great for emergency situations. If you need to get your cats out quickly, or any pet actually, clicker training, whistle training works with any and all species. We blow the whistle, the cats come running, they'll go into their crates. We take them places. It's not always the vet. So a lot of people have struggles with getting their cats to the vet because they just associate the carrier with such terrible things. But we associate the carrier with some positive things when, right from the beginning with the kittens. All the kittens are, they see the carrier as a rewarding place, a place that's going, there's food in there. It's not, sometimes we might just take them, on a day adventure, or take them to a pet store or any place that'll let us, bring in a stroller with the cat, just to give them, with as much stimulation and experience as possible when they're young, so that they're more flexible and adaptable when they're older, because you never know when you might have to evacuate or move to a different location, and so if you get your cat used to change early on, it's going to be less traumatic for them when if things go south and you end up having to evacuate and move and stay somewhere else for a while, to have that well socialized carrier, a cat that's willing to go into the carrier. It's just so much healthier, and also you can identify health issues a lot earlier if you have a training routine set up with your cat as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. We love what you've created with this show, Samantha. You've combined entertainment with education about, opening people's eyes to the fact that they can train their cats to do tricks, and then also, of course, shedding light on the need for people to adopt homeless and rescue cats. So I know you're on tour, and for those listeners that would love to stop and see the show, where are you gonna? What are some of the tour dates you have coming up?
We're going to be in Philadelphia, September 4th through the 7th. And then we have a short break and we do a Midwest tour. So in October, we're going to be in Madison, and then Madison, Wisconsin, and Skokie, Illinois. And then we do our Christmas show in New Orleans every year in December.
That sounds like a blast.
Oh, it does.
That sounds like yeah. I think if I didn't have if I wouldn't be disowned by my family for not showing up on Christmas, I think I'd find myself in New Orleans at the Acro-Cats show.
Well, we're there for 3 weeks. So
great. Okay, nice. Yeah, you're like Disney.
It's a Christmas tradition. We've been going there for over 10 years. So every December we spend about 3 weeks and do shows in New Orleans. So it's like a Christmas tradition. So it's not on Christmas. It's
excellent.
So there's many opportunities to see them.
Well, Samantha, this was an absolute joy. I've seen some of the videos on YouTube. I think that your show is amazing. It is so fun, perfect for a family outing, perfect for cat lovers, cat owners, potential cat owners. So if you're listening to the show, be sure to check them out. Samantha, thank you so much for hopping on the podcast today.
Oh, and go to our website, rockcatsrescue.org. There it is. All the show information too.
Awesome.
And we'll put that in the show notes for everybody too, rockcatsrescue.org. All right. Thanks again, Samantha. Take care.
Sure. All right.
Bye now.
Pets add life.
Well, you hear me say this every now and again, Kristen, but if you just listen to this podcast, right, and you on your commute or something, this is one that's really worth just hopping onto YouTube and checking out. Samantha had a ton of guest stars who, as cats do, sort of just go wherever they please in front of the camera. She had to shuffle them around, and you could tell that she's a master handler because she never got flustered, just sort of shuffling all those cats around.
All her foster cats were competing for camera time, and they kept walking in front of the camera, putting their nose up to the camera. It was really cute. So yeah, definitely check it out if you were only listening to the audio portion.
That's how you know they are ambitious divas, because they were really jockeying for that camera time. So
true.
Check out this episode on YouTube. Check out the Acro-Cats on YouTube too. You can see some of their stuff. I know there were a couple of news articles that cover them, and you could see some of that stuff previewed. And if you get a chance, check them out live.
Okay, Chris, let's meet Cody Costra, the Public Relations Manager at the Humane Society of the Pikes Peak Region in Colorado. That's a beautiful area of the country. So with a passion for animal welfare and community engagement, Cody plays a pivotal role in promoting the Humane Society's mission to rescue and rehome homeless and abused animals. So today, Cody's here to talk to us about Pawtoberfest, an upcoming dog-friendly festival featuring craft brews, pet contests, family activities, and so much more. It is scheduled for September the 14th at Union Printers Home in Colorado Springs. So if you're not in Colorado, you've got time to get your plane tickets and head on out there. Pawtoberfest promises to be a fun-filled event and, of course, for a great cause. Welcome, Cody.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on. I am very excited to talk about Pawtoberfest, which is a really fun day, and you're also raising money for a good cause. So what could be, a better Saturday well spent?
What could be better than that? Tell us a little bit about the origins. I assume this is not the first year of Pawtoberfest. Tell us about the history and how it's evolved.
Yeah, so we have been using, where we created Pawtoberfest, I think over 20 years ago. So it's been in the Colorado Springs community for a very long time. And this is one of our biggest fundraisers of the year. So, this is one of the only dog-friendly festivals that I know of, at least in the state of Colorado, where you can, drink craft brews, because in Colorado, our craft brews are a very big scene here. And then you can also bring out your dog and enjoy the nice weather as well, while all that money is going directly back to taking care of the homeless, the abused, the unwanted animals here in our communities in Colorado.
Yeah,
that's absolutely
fantastic.
Awesome. I mean, already from just an elevator pitch, I'm sold. But why don't you tell me a little bit more about some of the unique activities, some highlights, some things that folks can expect if they plan on attending Pawtoberfest?
Yeah, so we have all the vendors, of course, the beer and the spirit tastings, but it's also a family-friendly activity too. So we have kid stations around. Like I said, you can bring your dogs too. So we have like little kiddie pools for the dogs to go play in and cool off, because it's usually a hot day here in September. We have music going on, and then we have tasty food trucks that are available as well. And my favorite, we have pet contests. So this year we have, we call it the Pooch Smooch, which is our kissing contest. And it's exactly what it sounds like. You have to kiss your dog in front of everybody, and it's a big hit. People love signing up for it. So if you have a dog that loves to give big slobbery kisses, you can come and sign up. All of our pet contests are free. They're just another way to make the day a really fun day.
Hey, Cody, is it cheating if you smear peanut butter on your face for the kissing contest?
Nobody has tried it yet, but I bet you if you did, you would probably win.
Yeah, it sounds like it's like steroids, right? It's performance-enhancing drugs. It's going to happen once, and then we're going to have to look back, put an asterisk in the history books, and ban it from there on out.
Right.
And we do have legit judges for these contests, so I don't know what the judges are going to say.
It'll come down to them. Yeah.
I would love to know what a legit dog kissing contest judge. What kind of credentials do you have to be a judge for this contest?
So we usually have like our president and CEO as a judge who, sees a lot of dogs. And then we normally have other people from our community as judges too. So we get a whole wide range, a diverse group of judges. So I don't know if you want to do a trick before the kiss, maybe you can win one of them over. I feel like I'm pitching Dancing with the Stars, but it's very similar.
That's awesome. And, you've mentioned community a few times now, and I love these community events that, aren't just fun, and it sounds like a lot of fun, but also impactful. So can you talk a little bit about the impact that this event will have on the Humane Society and your local community?
Yeah, so our goal for Pawtoberfest is to raise over $210,000, which is great. I was like, we normally, do pretty well to raise a lot of money for the pets in our community. And kind of like we were talking about a little bit earlier, that money goes directly back to these pets. So, we have We have over like 25,000 pets that come through our shelter every year. So that's a lot of mouths to feed. That's a lot of pets to shelter. That's a lot of people coming in to look for adoptions. So all that money, I mean, we raise it because it's a fun day, but we also do raise it for the pets, here in our community as well.
And do people buy tickets to attend Pawtoberfest, or how do those funds come in to the event?
Correct. Yeah. So tickets are available. They're available for purchase right now. So we have normal tickets that are $55 that will get you in the door and, get you with all the events and everything going on. And then we also sell like VIP tickets as well, which kind of get you your own space. That's a little bit of like catered food, your own bathroom, since it's an outdoor event, some shaded space. So there's options for everybody. And then we also do sell merch for the event too. So we have Pawtoberfest t-shirts, which are a little bit of their own famous thing here in Colorado Springs now that, I'll see people out randomly wearing them, and I got a few of my own that are available for purchase. And then we also sell like brewery glasses, like the nice, like 16-ounce glasses with like cool cat puns and dog puns and our Humane Society logo on them, that all of those proceeds go back to the shelter as well.
That's awesome. It sounds like, you guys have steeped this event in a bit of tradition, which is amazing. But with tradition comes time. So I'm wondering if you could backtrack through your memory real quick and maybe pull out a memorable story or experience or something really fun that happened at a Pawtoberfest that kind of opened your eyes and made you realize how awesome of an event this really is, and share it with our audience.
Ooh, this maybe isn't going to be the best pitch, but one year when we had Pawtoberfest, I remember it rained, and it was, in Colorado, the weather can be unpredictable all the way up to the event day. And even though it rained and it was all soggy, we still had the most fun at the event ever. And honestly, I think the rain made it even more memorable. The dogs were out there running around, jumping in the water. People were just, outside having fun. We still had the music going. We still had the contest going. So it was still a really fun day. And the sun did eventually come out. But when it was raining early on, it was a really fun event that made it memorable, as these pets were still jumping in the pools and enjoying themselves.
Yeah, a lot of wet dog smell too, I bet.
Well, luckily it's outside, so the wet dog smell tends to dissipate into just the wet Colorado smell, which isn't the worst. It's not the worst.
We call that fresh mountain air here.
There we go. It is, yeah.
So Cody, you mentioned that this is a family-friendly event, open to kids, people of all ages, and you can bring your dogs. Are there any steps you guys have taken to kind of keep it safe? We got a lot of people and a lot of dogs in one area. What kind of steps have you guys taken to just keep everything safe and fun?
Yeah, so the festival ground is all fenced off, so it's an exclusive event. Like, you have to buy a ticket to enter, and then we do have security at the event as well. Anytime you mix alcohol and people and day drinking, it's usually smart to have security. So yeah, we have security there. It's really just a fun day. It's usually more of a laid back day. We have so many vendors that go here that when you're waiting in line, you're not waiting in line very long. So it's a really fun day. We have the food options and stuff too. So we got a lot of different things going on that people are always doing, and you're never bored. Something's always going on, sure. And then. Yeah, so it's just a fun day, just seeing around, going around with everybody.
Absolutely. So, Cody, we're coming up at the end of our time here. So if I am a Colorado-based listener of the PAL podcast and I am absolutely sold on this event, where can I find out more? Where can I secure my tickets?
Yeah, so we have our own website at pawtoberfest.org. So just like Oktoberfest, but it's a paw. So it's a really fun way to remember it. But yeah, pawtoberfest.org. We have all of our details on there. That's where you can buy your tickets. You can see videos of past years. You can kind of see the timeline of the day that's going on. All of your information is going to be there.
Fantastic. And I assume people can make you can make a donation too if you can't attend, right? I assume.
Correct. Yeah. And you can always donate on our website. So like I said, all the funds go back to the Humane Society of the Pikes Peak Region. So our website is HSPPR.org. And anytime you make a donation online, that money goes to taking care of the pets here in Colorado as well.
Awesome. Awesome. So even if you're like me and in a classless state that's consistently jealous of Colorado, you can still have a positive impact. Cody, thank you so much for spending some time with us, teaching us about this event. I had a smile on my face the entire time. It sounds like an absolute blast.
Of course, thank you so much for having me on, and hopefully I see a couple of the listeners out there come up and say hi at Pawtoberfest.
Great.
Absolutely. Thanks, Cody.
All right, so all of you in Colorado, Big Brother Chris is watching. My eyes are on you. I want to see tickets purchased now, because for those of us who aren't so lucky to live in that area, we have to live vicariously through you. So I'm telling you right now, get a ticket, go to this event. I want to see some hashtags on Instagram. I want to see you tagging us in your stories and stuff so that I can live through you.
You're so selfish, Chris.
Yes,
just make
this
a
is me being selfish. Do we understand, listeners? Not if you understand.
Oh my gosh.
The product of the week.
All right, it's time for the product of the week. Kristen, why don't you go ahead and take us away?
Okay, so this is a product that I've used in the past for my dog, and it was fantastic. And I think it's a really great tool for anyone who has a dog that pulls when they're on a walk. So this is called the Freedom No Pull Harness. It's by a company called Two Hounds Design. This company's been around for at least, I think, 15, 20 years. They've been making beautiful and really high quality collars and leashes, but they came out with this Freedom No Pull Harness maybe like 10 years ago. This thing has over 10,000 5-star reviews. It's a great training tool for, like I said, for dogs that pull. And what it does is the way it's designed, it helps you and your dog communicate better on a walk. So there's the actual harness that goes on your dog, and then the leash clips in two different places. It clips like at the base of or at the top of your dog's chest, and then one on the back at the base of their neck. And so you're actually, when you're holding the leash, you need two hands because you're kind of holding, it's almost like a loop. And the cool thing is when your dog starts to pull, the harness system kind of pulls him in toward you to kind of facing you. So, dogs kind of think, well, this is weird, and I watched a video on YouTube that kind of demonstrates how it works. And it's amazing. They had this Doberman that was dragging this guy down the sidewalk. He puts the no pull harness on and they're walking like perfectly normal side by side. So, and I did use this for my dog Chili many years ago when we first started doing, a lot of hiking and stuff, and it worked great. So I highly recommend if you have a puller or someone who has a dog that pulls, check out the Freedom No Pull Harness. It also has this really cool velvet lining on the strap that goes under their front legs, so it prevents any chafing. Really top quality, and they have some really cool colors too.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think one of the most frustrating things of owning a larger dog is when they're stronger than you and they know it and they pull and they pull and they pull. So that is a great product. I've seen it around at a few different places. So great recommendation. Yeah.
So what you got for us today?
I've got, I was really inspired. We had Samantha on from the Acro-Cats, and I thought this is great, right? Like, I think this is so fun. But now there's going to be people out there that are training their cats to basically become these astounding acrobats capable of bounding over a building in a single leap. Well, that could be a problem if you keep them outside, especially if they go outside and they sort of have a fenced-in area. Cats like to escape. And there is a sensitivity around letting your cat sort of just have free reign outside. I mean, it's dangerous for them, especially if you live in an area with a lot of traffic. It's dangerous for the ecosystem because cats are apex predators and they tend to win. And they could also get into all sorts of scrapes and fights with other animals. So I found this product called Ocelot. And essentially what it is like you install it at the top of a fence. So if you have like a backyard patio that, fenced in type situation, you install it at the top of the fence and it's just like a little rotating spinny thing. So when they get to the top, they can't climb over. So it keeps the cat in, it keeps like the raccoons out. But there's all sorts of videos of different fences here and cats of honestly astounding athletic ability trying to stump it. And they all sort of get to the top, see that it starts to spin, and they get down. There's cats trying to bound over and land on the top, and they sort of just tumble on down. So it's a great way to keep your cat safe. So if you're out there and you're thinking, my cat would be a great acro-cat, but also I'm afraid that with any semblance of training, they're going to jump right on over my fence, this is the product for you. So I went ahead, I put they're an Australian-based company actually, but I went ahead, put the website in the show notes so you guys could take a look and see kind of what I'm talking about. It's a product that's a little more difficult to describe, but I think once you see the homepage here, they kind of have this running video like, oh, it's such a simple, elegant solution to the problem. So I really like that.
I like that. And is this something you could use? I'm trying to envision it. Could you use it like for the top of the refrigerator or for places in the house where you don't want your cat to access? Or is it specifically designed for outdoors?
I mean, it does look like it gets screwed in. So as long as you're okay screwing into to something, whether it's a cabinet or a refrigerator, definitely. I mean, it's very straightforward. Turns out cats prefer to land on solid and sturdy objects. Actually, when you see them, I don't know, for those cat owners out there who might have a blanket down and see the cat, and they'll be very testy with the blanket before they actually walk, because the cats are very careful. They want to make sure that where they're stepping is solid and sound. So this definitely throws a wrench in their plans to jump over those fences. So check it out. I'm a firm believer in keeping our cats safe and our ecosystems safe from our cats. And so this is a great solution so we could still give our cats the opportunity to explore the outdoors a bit.
Feline innovation at its finest.
Q&As. All right, folks, it's time for our favorite segment of the show, where we answer 2 of your questions. And remember, if you have a question for Chris and Kristen, you could submit it at petsaddlife.org/podcast. Scroll on down to the bottom of that page. If you see the little text box there, you could submit your question. Or if you are a brave kitty cat, you could submit your voice memo straight through the website, and you'll hear your question played on the show. And also, newsflash, follow us on Facebook or on Instagram at Pets Add Life. You'll see our clips popping up there all the time. If you don't feel like going to our website because the internet's confusing, but you see us on social, just pop your question in the comment box. Go ahead, pop that in there. We've got our best and brightest scouring our comments to make sure we pick up on all those questions, and we'll be sure to get to those as well. But without further ado, Kristen, got a question for you.
Okay, hit me with it.
This question comes from Carlos in Miami, Florida. Thank you, Carlos, for the question. Carlos asks, my dog has been developing dry patches on his skin. What are some effective ways to treat and prevent these skin issues?
Okay. Well, Carlos, thank you for the question. And as I usually do, I'll start out by saying any type of health issue with your pet it probably makes sense to go talk to your veterinarian about it. But I can give you a few things that you can try to see if that clears up the dry patches. And if not, don't let it go on for too long before you see your vet. So dry patches could be a result of a few different things. It could be a diet, something he's lacking in his diet. It could be that he needs more frequent grooming. It could be a hydration issue. So I would make sure that he's drinking enough water. And obviously we're recording this at the very tail end of summertime, so it's really important that we make sure our pets are getting enough water, especially if they spend a lot of time outdoors and they're active. But also, it's important to make sure that your dog is getting enough omega-3s in his diet. So you might check the ingredient list on the bag or in whatever type of food that you're feeding him, but you can also supplement with omega-3 oils, either in a little pump form, or I think they come in the gels too. And it also could be an allergy. So he might be allergic to ragweed or just something in your environment. I know when we lived in Florida, oh my gosh, there are so many different allergens that dogs and cats can be allergic to. So that could also be the culprit. But try bathing and grooming a little more frequently. Try adding more water to his diet and try the omegas. And if you don't see any improvement, definitely make an appointment to see your vet. So that is my advice for Carlos and his dry patch pooch. And now I have a question for you, Chris.
All right, let it rip. Do your worst.
All right, I'm going to try to stump you here. All right, this comes from Jenna in Denver. So Jenna says, I have a deaf cat and want to make sure his life is as enriched as possible despite his disability. What are some activities or tips to help enrich a deaf cat's life? It's a really good question.
Classic, trying to stump me with the deaf cat question, though I cannot be stumped by such questions, for I am a proud owner of a 21-year-old deafie named Tiger. So it's, in all honesty, it's not that big of a disability for cats. I think it could be frustrating at times for both the cat and the cat owner. Especially if they weren't born deaf and it's something they have to become adjusted to, like my cat was, just lost the hearing with old age. So you have to change the way you communicate with the cat, right? There's no more calling the cat down for dinner. What I do now is simply open the can of food, and guess what? That sense of smell is still there. She comes running on down. And really root yourself in this understanding that as much as it doesn't seem to change, because at the end of the day, like, cats don't speak English. So you're sitting there and you're talking to your cat. It's still like, it's always fallen on deaf ears. But sometimes your cat could pick up on the mood or just be aware of the fact that you're in a room because you're speaking. Be aware that your cat doesn't know where you are. I always like to say that Tiger communicates through echolocation. Like, she'll stand somewhere and just meow. And wait for us to arrive to help her with her problems and that's definitely a change in behavior there. So like, for example, when she wants us to turn on the sink, she'll just go sit in the bathroom and meow until we show up and fix the problem for her. So it's just a change in the way we communicate. But as far as enrichment and activities, not much has to change at all. I mean, all the toys are generally instinct and touch sensory based. You don't have to worry about the food changing at all. I would be hesitant, though, to allow a deaf cat outside for extended periods of time. Anything that is going to be aggressive towards the cat's going to want all five senses for that to be able to defend itself or run away or be able to anticipate any sort of a threat. So it might be time to keep that cat inside, which means you want to look for some of the toys that I've recommended on the show in the past that sort of help tap into that hunter instinct a bit. Some of those automatic little balls or play mats or cat dancers. There's all sorts of different things. But the good news is life doesn't have to change that much. The cat's going to be plenty happy. And just remember that if you're yelling at the cat because they misbehaved, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to help at all.
Might make you feel better.
Yeah, it could be therapeutic, but falling on literal deaf ears.
Yes. Well, thank you, Jenna, for that question. And as Chris reminded you all earlier, you can submit your question at petsadlife.org/podcast or drop it right into the comments on our social channels. So, Chris, I think that wraps up our first fall-themed show.
It does. I can't believe that fall is already here. It's going to take some time for me to adjust to that. The good news about fall arriving is that I go to Italy soon, which is going to be
I know you're very excited about that.
But all of you at home don't need to worry about that, because through the magic of recording and the internet, the Pets at Life podcast will continue on every Tuesday. That's right. No matter what, whether I'm in the country or not, we're going to be feeding you guys fresh episodes. So be sure to come back here next Tuesday for the next episode, where we guarantee, this is a Christopher Bonafati guarantee that you're going to have a lot of fun with that one. My producer shaking his head. He said, "I'm not allowed to give guarantees. I'm never allowed to promise anything. So what I'm going to do is instead promise you this. I promise to never promise." And that's a Christopher Bonafati guarantee. So until next week, stay comfortable, be good to yourselves, be good to your pets, and we'll see you back here on Tuesday.
Meow for now.